Hello YouTube, Reddit Takes here. Another week 14 pick predictions video. Most of my favorite teams are not playing this week, so maybe it'll be easier. Maybe I'll have better luck this week. Although the Packers did win last week and I picked against the Saints. Saints should have won that game. And the Buccaneers, well, Tom Brady is Tom Brady and he has to appease the devil somehow. But here we are. Last week was a decent week for me. I think I was 10-5. You may go back and check if you think I'm wrong, but I think it was 10-5 or 9-6, which is not bad, but could be better. But only 13 games this week. Only one list on my notepad, but let's get into it. First game of the week, we have the Las Vegas Raiders and the LA Rams. Boy, what an interesting game this will be. And by interesting, I mean bad. Because the Rams are so depleted. Las Vegas, yeah, they've been on a hot streak lately, but they haven't played anybody. Sure, they beat the Chargers, but the Chargers always find a way to mess things up, and they did last week again. Got up 10-0 and proceeded to piss it all away. But I think the Raiders should win this game. Because Rams might be able to slow down Jacobs a little bit. Devontae should probably have a decent game. They still have some decent secondary there for the Rams. And I mean, John Wolford, bless his heart, he did what he could for the Rams, but they nearly won last week. Probably as a Packers fan, I should have hoped for them to win, but of course they didn't. Seahawks came back in the end, but I don't know. I think I'll pick the Raiders, but like it always is this year, Thursday games are notoriously hard to pick. They're usually terrible, awful games, except for some of the Thanksgiving games. But yeah, probably gonna be a weird one. Next, we have an anticipated game: the Jets versus the Bills. Jets won their last meeting. Bills need to win this game if they want to keep their newly received first seed in the AFC. I think the Bills can definitely do it for sure. The Jets had many chances to win last week, and maybe Mike White is not the answer. He had a couple interceptions last week, and that one at the end of the game was dumb. Again, Jets always find a way to win or lose, and the Vikings always find a way to win. Jets had the Vikings by the balls, but they couldn't put it through. Bills beat down on the Patriots on last Thursday night, and it really wasn't that close. Patriots got out ahead early, but the Bills definitely just beat down on them, and it really wasn't close in any way. Maybe Belichick's losing his edge, but I think the Bills, because they're at home, should win this game. Should be a close game. But I mean, I don't know, it could go either way. Jets still have the ability to play spoiler, but after the last 2 weeks, maybe they're going back down to reality. Their defense is still good, but can they score enough points is always the question. And they may be able to, but I think the Bills win. Yeah, I think the Bills win. Next we have the Browns versus the Bengals. Browns winning last week, mainly because of their defense, because Deshaun Watson understandably looked awful coming out of the game. And again, reminder, Deshaun Watson is innocent. He was not found guilty in a court of law, so stop calling him the worst person ever if you don't have proof. Please stop sending innocent men and telling people they are guilty for things that are not proven in court. But anyway, back to it. Browns defense looked pretty good, though they were playing the Texans, so the Texans can make any defense look good. And the Bengals beating the Chiefs for the third time in the last 18 months. And yeah, the Bengals look to be rising. They want a shot at the number 1 seed this year, and they'll have a chance to do it because they play the Bills in a couple weeks. So, and this is always a good matchup game between the two. You can never be sure who to pick, although Cincinnati, I think, has won the past couple. Bengals look to be in charge, and the Browns, Deshaun Watson is definitely going to have to play better in this game for sure if they want to win. If he doesn't, if he plays like he did last week, they will not win this game. But anyway, Chubb still there. Always had his struggles the past couple weeks. And yeah, hopefully for the Bengals, Mixon will be back, although Samaje Perine has done very well in his stead. But I think the Bengals win. Joe Burrow wants to be a dark horse MVP candidate, which he very well could be. I don't know how likely it is, but I would put him as a dark horse MVP candidate after how he started the first week with 4 interceptions. But yeah, Bengals win this one. Next, we have the Vikings versus the Lions. A good rivalry game. Lions had the Vikings by the tail last time they played, and they couldn't finish it. They collapsed, and the Vikings found a way to win. Lions have been much better of late. They just destroyed Jacksonville last week in a game that I should have known better than to pick Jacksonville, but we all have to learn somehow. Vikings winning last week against the Jets, even though by all accounts they should have lost. Their offense fell apart in the second half, and they allowed the Jets to climb back in it, but not enough to win though. So, boy, I don't know who to pick. I probably should, if I'm the Packers fan, I should hope for the Lions to win to keep that division from being clinched. But I think I'm going to go with the Vikings. Just because the Lions, they have good games with the Vikings, but are rarely able to finish it in the past couple of years. So I'll pick the Vikings, but the Lions have a great chance. Amon-Ra St. Brown is back to his number 1 wide receiver status. And Jefferson is still there for the Vikings. So I think Jefferson should have a pretty big day for the Vikings. But yeah, we shall pick the Vikings. I went out of order on that one. My next game was supposed to be the Texans and the Cowboys. But yeah, Texans and Cowboys. Cowboys are probably going to beat the fuck out of the Texans this week. I don't see any chance of Houston winning. Man, and I have to start Dameon Pierce in my fantasy league, and I don't feel good about it. Dameon Pierce is the one bright shining star of the Texans, and they can't block for shit, and he is unable to get going. So hopefully he can do something, maybe get a touchdown here or there for fantasy purposes. But to the matchup, the Texans are not a good team. I don't think they're tanking, they're just bad. So it looks like they're probably going to have the number 1 seed next year. Cowboys look to get that 2 or 3 seed this year. Hopefully for their sake, they want to get the number 1 seed, but I think they're going to lose to the Eagles again. Probably be close, but yeah, Cowboys, after struggling with the Colts all game, they just exploded for 33 points in the fourth quarter, and I'm left totally confused and not sure what happened. Tony Pollard should probably have a good day. Same thing with Zeke. Hopefully, for fantasy purposes, they give it to Pollard, not Zeke. But yeah, I don't see any way the Texans win this game, honestly. They're probably going to get destroyed. But yeah, there we go. We have the Cowboys beating the Texans. Next we have the Eagles and the Giants, so anticipated rivalry game. Eagles winning against the Titans, actually just dominating them. Giants ending in a tie versus the Commies. And the Giants look to play upset in this game and throw a real wrench into the NFC East race. I think the Eagles have more than enough to beat the Giants, but Giants' defense is sneaky. I mean, Washington was winning last week for a while, but then the Giants got ahead, and Washington just was barely able to tie it at the end. But it should be a good matchup, good rivalry game. These two teams usually play it close, but I think the Eagles have more than enough to win. Next, we have the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ravens will be without Lamar Jackson, and even with Lamar Jackson, they couldn't move the ball very well against Denver last week. Steelers beating the Falcons. It's the Ravens and Steelers, so it's always a good rivalry game. But who knows how Huntley will do for the Ravens. He has done pretty well when he's been asked to start or play instead of Lamar Jackson. But I don't know, Steelers defense has been getting better of late. And Baltimore has not been able to move the ball at all, really. They'll want to get their running game going. Yeah, it should be a classic Steelers versus Ravens matchup. I think it's in Pittsburgh, so I think I'll pick the Steelers, but it should be a close game anyway. Next, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tennessee Titans. Titans looking to get off the schneid after losing the past few games and getting decimated by Philadelphia last week. Jags getting decimated by the Lions. Every time I think the Jags might have get things figured out on offense, next week they can't do anything. And the Titans have not been doing well on offense. Derrick Henry has had a couple of bad weeks. I think he will get it going this week. At least I hope so. For his sake, just because he's been doing well. But yeah, I think the Titans win this one. Should be a close game, at least early on, but I think the Titans will have more than enough to beat the Jags. Derrick Henry definitely will need to get the ball rolling again. Next, we have the Kansa City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos. Broncos are awful team. I would be surprised if Hackett keeps his job this year. I would be surprised. The Chiefs losing to the Bengals. You never want to go up against Kansas City in a game after a loss. So I think their Chiefs are going to rile up their offense this week. I mean, Denver's defense they have a lot of good pieces, but the problem is their offense is so bad. They're on the field constantly, so they cannot really catch their breath and stay strong. So it's really hard for the Broncos to really win the game. But yeah, I think the Chiefs will win this game pretty handily. It's in Denver, so maybe Denver has a chance early on if they don't make turnovers. But with Russell Wilson these days, you can never be too sure. Next, we have the Buccaneers after the 49ers. Buccaneers coming off that amazing game against the Saints, their amazing class for the Saints. The 49ers beating Miami, but at a cost, losing Jimmy G for the rest of the year. So, looks like it's the Brock Purdy show. Again, will he be able to lead this team to the Super Bowl? I don't think so, but their defense will still hold up. They still have Christian McCaffrey, and they still have their other offensive pieces. But, I think the 49ers will win this game. I think. I don't know. Without Jimmy G, it's a whole different story, to be honest. And I hate rooting or betting against Brady just because he makes me look like a fool all the time because he's got the devil on his side. But it should be a close game, I think. I think just because the 49ers have a little bit better of a defense, they'll be able to handle it up, and Christian McCaffrey looks to have a bounce back game. Or, he had a decent game last week, but even better this week. So, San Francisco. Next, we have the Panthers versus the Seahawks. Seahawks winning against the Rams. Panthers coming off a bye. It's a toss-up game, to be honest. Geno is still there, but who knows if Kenny or Kenneth Walker will play. The Panthers, Deontay Foreman still there. And now with Baker Mayfield gone for the Panthers, it looks like it's a Sam Darnold show for the rest of the year. And yeah, it's a toss-up game. If I was a Packer fan, or I'm a Packer fan, so I'd be rooting against the Seahawks, but I think the Seahawks will win. If it was on the East Coast, I might think differently, but it's on the West Coast, so I don't know. I think the Seahawks have a little bit more, but yeah, especially for the Panthers' sake, you would think would want to not win any more games to get a better draft pick for their presumable new coach next year, but who knows what will happen. Seahawks. Next we have the Miami Dolphins and Freudian slip, LA Chargers. Dolphins losing against San Francisco and looking pretty bad at times, their offense. They lost to Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy, for fuck's sake. The Chargers finding a way to blow a game and lose to the Raiders. Oh boy, the Chargers. No, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year. As my whole AFC West predictions this year is wrong. And it's in LA, but I think the Dolphins will bounce back since the Chargers defense is so bad. Miami looks to cook on offense again. Tua's going to need to bounce back after last week's game. But yeah, I don't think the Chargers are going to win, but I've been wrong before. But I think Miami has more than enough to beat the Chargers this week. And last but not least, the Patriots versus the Cardinals. Cardinals coming off a bye. Patriots, like I said, coming off that loss to the Bills. And it was not very close. So I think the Patriots can bounce back in this one. Though Arizona has been doing better of late somewhat. No, actually that's wrong. Before they went on their bye, they got destroyed by San Francisco in every level of the game. I mean, Kyler Murray, I think, is just the biggest enigma in today's NFL for sure. You never know when he's going to be good, when he's going to suck. But you can bet on that it's probably going to suck. But Patriots, I think, have enough to win this game. I like Ramondre Stevenson to do better this week, but it's anybody's guess. Patriots, but I don't know how confident about that I feel. And there we have it, Week 14 predictions. As always, there will be a preview video, or preview short, trying to get people to come over to my this long form video. I will attach that in the video and in the description, so you can find the links in two ways. But hit me up at Rumble for sure, trying to build a presence there, and locals too. Don't have Twitter right now, still banned. Hopefully we'll be getting that in the coming weeks or months with the amnesty program. But yeah, no Packer game this week, but as always, have a great day. Go Pack Go, and God bless.